Yes, so formally I welcome all of you today for this session on time management and goal setting. Keeping in mind COVID pandemic, we realize and we see around that there are certain people who never fall short of time, and there are certain people who always fall short of time. It seems as if they have too much on their hand and they're not able to complete their sessions, they're not able to complete their work. So, what is the key to time management? Is it only related to managing time as per se, or does it have to do with managing ourselves? This is a platform which is being provided by AIEF, All India Educators Forum. All of us are a member of that forum, and the founder of that forum, Mr. Matthews, everybody is aware of how hardworking and how busy he is. But even then, he finds out time to respond to all our messages. Even then, you'll find him organizing so many webinars, irrespective of what subject they refer to. So one wonders, how does he have so much time despite being in the same profession as we are? Apart from teachers, we have principals also attending this webinar. So they have their hands full, I think. So they are the busiest, even more busy than we teachers. So let's hear from Mr. Matthews first. What does he do? What is the magic? What is the secret to his time management? Before we continue, I would just make a request. All of you kindly mute yourselves, keep your videos off during the whole session. In case there is any question that would be answered towards the end of the session, and you can write down your queries in the chat box. So let's begin and let's hear Mr. Matthews out. Over to you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And just to start off, we always heard that time is money. You know, everyone says that time is money. But I am really fascinated by a statement which Jim Rohn made. That is, money we can always get later, but time once gone will never come back. So time is more precious than actually money. Time is the most precious commodity that is available on the earth, because everything else can be regained, but time will never come back. So on that note, I want to start off today's session. And thank you, Ritu ma'am, for the introduction. And if you could allow me to share my screen, I can start off. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Just one. So first of all, welcome to this webinar on time management. And it's a wonderful topic that ma'am has chosen, and she wanted me to speak a little bit before she actually conducts the session. So I also thought that, let me take this opportunity to interact with our wonderful members. The response has always been great. And it is, the support from principals, from coordinators has been amazing. So once again, I want to welcome you all on to this webinar. So as per survey, they say that the 4 top time wasting activities, the top 4 is first of all TV. So many people ask me that how do you get so much time? So I don't watch any television at all, because television is one of the major factors which eats up on our time. I don't watch any serials, and generally, I mean, they say that you should stay away from television, serials, and news. On the TV, of course, newspaper and all that you can read, but as far as the TV is concerned, please restrict your timings. So they say that about 33% of your time, an average person spends about 2 to 3 hours on the TV watching different things. So 3 hours a day means 90 hours a month. That's quite a lot. In that 2 to 3 hours, you can do so many other things. You can plan a webinar, you can conduct a webinar, you can read a book probably. So that is the topmost. Then, of course, once the movies have come in, Netflix, Amazon, who doesn't have, for a long time, people used to ask me, you don't have a Netflix account, you don't watch movies. I do watch movies, but it's probably restricted to 1 a week or 2 a week. And in fact, the craze for Netflix was so much then I also thought, let me also, take an account and see. For 1 month, you won't believe it, I was, binge watching. So, and I decided this is this is not good for me. If I'm going to spend 90 hours, 100 hours a month watching movies, I'm doing something wrong, because actually all these movies are for entertainment, yes, but constructive, something, there's nothing constructive out of it. Maybe little bit, but not that much. So Netflix and Amazon movies, if you are having a subscription, I really have to, suggest that you restrict your viewing, because again, one movie means again 2 to 2.5 hours. And then people say, how do you get time? I don't watch television. I save my 2 hours there. I don't watch Netflix. I save my 2 hours there. And third most important, I have seen a lot of people on phone calls. The phone calls will, one phone call, and, they don't restrict to what is actually the main point. So they will be on, or kya haal hai, or kya haal hai, or kya haal hai. This is a never ending process. And you receive, one duration, let's say 15 minutes, you receive 4 calls in a day, that's 1 hour gone. So I make it a point, actually, to be very frank, during class hours, I never attend phone calls. That is from when I start my work. I am teaching in a school, you're aware. So between 7 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I don't attend any calls at all. If there is some emergency, I'll put a WhatsApp message that please call after 2. If many of you must have called and got that experience. And when there is something very, very urgent, and my calls are restricted to 7 minutes per call, because, I feel that 7 minutes are more good enough to communicate whatever is done. If you extend beyond that, it is just wastage of time. Perhaps I would say I spend only more than 7 minutes when I call my parents. They are a little old, so, they want that regular talk with them. So that is the only, time where I spend more than 7 minutes with anyone. Otherwise, I will tell them, you either WhatsApp the message or that. So phone calls, you can take out about 1 hour daily. So 2 plus 2 plus 1. And then, of course, the favorite of everything, gossip. Whenever 2 or 3 are gathered, gossip will start. Stay away from gossips and you save a lot of time. So this is as per survey. This is not my invention. If you Google search it, I found that what do people do generally? How do they spend time? Besides, of course, their work, it is television, the biggest culprit. In India, it's slowly coming. In the US and all, it's like, it's crazy, like 5 to 6 hours and all daily. And of course, the movies have come in, and then that is taking a lot of time. So by all this, if you reduce on this, television series and movies, restrict to weekends probably, and phone calls and gossip, I personally I think I save about 4 to 5 hours, which is good enough for me to, get involved in more constructive things. So this is what is the survey. Other time wasting options, which I have observed, is that, commuting during rush hour, always there is traffic. Wherever you are, there is traffic. So try to shift your driving to early mornings or, afternoons, where you can actually reach one destination to the other faster. Doing other people's work, you always do your work first. That is the basic principle. And I have always told teachers in the forum, never compromise on your schoolwork. Schoolwork is the most important. Never compromise on your family. Family is very important. So unless your boss and your partner cooperates, nothing is possible, right? So I'm very lucky to have a very good boss and a very good wife. So that in both ways, God has blessed me that I am able to do things, as I want. And so you finish your work fast so that you are available for others after that. So don't compromise saying that, I will do the work of the other person first, then I will do. So you have to help yourself first with your work and then do it. Hanging out with negative people, always there is a criticism, all this. Stay around with positive people. You will think you will get your work faster. You will be able to do things faster. If you are hanging out with negative people, what will happen is that you're going to waste a lot of time and the emotional, the setbacks that comes along with it, that baggage which you carry, that's also going to be a problem later on. Of course, procrastination. I will do tomorrow. That tomorrow never comes. There's a good book by Brian Tracy. If you've heard of Brian Tracy, Eat That Frog. So it's a very good book. And whenever you get time, actually, that's the best way of passing your time, because that's what actually builds you. Traveling and reading, I think, are the two best friends that you can have in your life. And Eat That Frog, he says that, the toughest things you do first. Don't keep it for the end. And then what will happen? All the other things will be easy. So whatever you are having, don't keep it for the end. Do today. Don't eat that frog. That means, if you try to eat a frog, it's very unpleasant, but do that, and then everything will be very, very tasty for you, So then, of course, indecision, you hang around, you take a decision and plunge it. Otherwise, you want to do something, and then you say, I will think about it, I will see next month. All these are, time wasting tactics. If you are deciding that you want to do something, better that you do it, make a decision and go for it. And of course, this is not for us, but I won't be surprised if someone is doing this, playing video games. It's a favorite pastime of our kids. In fact, when PUBG was banned, there were many students in my class who went into a depression saying that PUBG is banned. Now, what are we going to do? And they didn't know how to pass their time because, they were spending 5 to 6 hours daily. I don't think as adults we are doing it, but at the same time, we have to take our precautions and, don't get addicted to this gaming. It's a deadly trap, I would say. And then eating junk food, so that is very, you watch TV and have chips. Barish ka mausam hai, chalo pakode ho jaye. That's a general way of enjoying entertainment. Hai. So, you eat, and you are actually, nothing is going into your body, and then you feel like sleepy, and then you are inactive, waiting for something to happen. Nothing is going to happen by chance. It is your choices, your actions, which will, help you to grow. Those who know the AIEF story, that we started with just 50 people some 2 years back, and now we are about 27,000. And that is because of the cooperation of so many people. Everyone is working in their groups, okay, as subject admins or as cooperators or coordinators. They're all doing something or the other, and because they feel that it's their platform, it has to grow. So they are spreading the word slowly to the others. So that's what makes it grow. So don't wait for something to happen. You decide that, okay, I'm going to do it, and go for it. Whether you get positive response, negative response, that is later. As Bhagwan Krishna says, you do your duty. Don't worry about the fruits of your, labor. That you will get at some point of time. And then not putting things away at the proper place. For me, I am very methodical. So whatever, files or whatever things, I just keep one place for it. That's very, very important. Otherwise, you are spending 1 hour looking for where that item is, and you waste a lot of time. Then surfing the web endlessly. This is an addiction, believe me. You are on YouTube or Facebook, and then you go scroll, and by the time you realize, oh my God, 1 ghanta ho gaya, 2 hours gone. So endless scrolling, meaningless scrolling. Even when I talk to my kids, I say, you surf the internet because you can't survive without internet, of course. But you watch some good programs. Don't watch, indulge yourselves in comedy shows and this and that where you don't get any knowledge. That is part of life, yes. But you watch some documentary, good, watch some BBC news, at least improve your English, and, watch programs which will benefit you. Then constantly updating your social media status. Oh my God, I have seen so many people. 3 o'clock, I am now going to bed. I am eating chole bhature, now evening snacks, constantly updating by the hour, as if it's a running commentary. So what is going to happen? You are obsessed with that status change, and and you are, devoting your time for that. Then not capturing ideas. Suddenly, there are many times when there is a me moment, you spend, some time for yourself, and then some idea comes. Always write it down on a piece of paper so that, that stays with you, and then you don't have to waste time preparing for that later. So always jot down, have the habit of writing and maintaining a diary. Fighting with others. As they say, agree to disagree, but skip the fight. If you try to put your point, if they are okay with it, fine. Otherwise, don't try, 1 hour trying to justify what you're saying is correct or wrong. So it is important that you don't fight unnecessarily. Debates on religion and politics especially should be avoided at all costs, because nobody wins, because they are, they stick to their ideals and nothing happens. Reading the tabloids. Which celebrity got arrested, who is in the jail, all these unnecessary things you read and waste time. So this is other time wasting actions. So finally, to conclude, how I make use of my time, have a time check. So that's why I always insist, start on time, end on time. We have a 1 hour webinar or 2 hour webinar, it should be fixed. Have a time check, exactly, chalk out, this is the time that I'm going to spend on this. So that setting of time limits is very important. Learning new skills, very, very important. You see, all of you have learned new skills, because of which our work has reduced by, let's say a fraction. So learn new skills, keep on learning. Our teachers community, I feel, are little hesitant to spend money on new skills. That whereas corporate people, they have all the skills they require. So when we have programs which are paid, there is a lot of hesitation to spend that 100 rupees or 200 rupees, but it's worth it. You learn something and you get a skill. Believe me, that saves a lot of your time. And investing in skills is investing in yourselves. That's very, very important that you develop new skills. Then have a to-do list. What are you going to do? You plan ahead, planning, and start with the most important tasks. That's what I told about procrastination, eat that frog. Delegate and outsource, very, very important. Don't try to control everything and do everything, which you cannot do. As if you're the boss and, nobody else can do better than you. That is a false notion. There are always people who can do it. Outsource. So, you've seen some principals who do that very beautifully. They will say, you do this, you do this. They can identify those talents and distribute the work, and they are relaxed. And some principals and leaders you will find stressed out because they take everything on themselves. So a good leader is someone who can delegate and outsource that. Focus one task at a time. Don't do too many things, and then what is going to happen? Everything is getting spoiled. So take focus on one task at a time and do that. And last, avoid perfection. I am not a perfectionist. You should be natural. That's what I feel. There are different thoughts. They say that perfection and all that, but this is my thought. When you go for perfection, you will waste a lot of time in making small changes here. Oh, I have made a PPT. I have put an extra dot there. Or, this font should be like this. You won't believe it. This PPT I made probably in 10-15 minutes, nothing more than that. So avoid perfection. It saves a lot of time. And what people are interested in is, you being outright person, sincere person, and what comes out of your art actually connects with the audience rather than, however beautiful PPTs or whatever you do. So learning new skills, this I'm skipping because we have done. So learning new skills is the key to time management. Again and again, I'm telling you, whenever you get an opportunity to learn a new skill, please do that. Whether it's a PowerPoint presentation or whether it is you are learning like all these Zoom and all this, we didn't know 6 months back. All this we learned. So everything in Microsoft Teams, how to prepare this different templates, posters, certificates, all this we should learn. And finally, to end off my presentation, I will say never ever waste time, because every minute you waste adds up to years of wastage. Use your time effectively and efficiently, because just like tiny drops of water builds the ocean, makes an ocean, same way, every minute that you are wasting will ultimately lead to years and years of wastage. So thank you. That's it from me. I hope I was able to communicate something which can save your time. That's what I did, and I thought I will share what I do, so that you can also try out in your own way how to manage your time. Thank you so much.
Definitely, sir. I think so. In a nutshell, it is take care of the minutes, and the hours will take care of themselves. So
absolutely.
That's what sir has actually tried to convey, and that's what he's following. That's the biggest takeaway, that we have a person here who is actually following what he is sharing with us. So now I'll be sharing my viewpoints regarding this session, and quickly, keeping in mind the time, I'll be going straight away to something that I think is very important, irrespective of the fact that we want to manage our time. I feel it's important to understand that we should not always be running after the fact that we have to make the maximum use of time and leave life behind. Keep everything in a balanced manner. So I start with this poem by W.H. Davies. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare. It doesn't mean that we would not be managing our time, but we have to take out time to enjoy the life that God has given us as well. No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep and cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this if full of care. We have no time to stand and stare. Give a minute to this. I know the chapter, the whole session is about time management, but we have to understand we must include in our day things we like and things that would help us evolve as well. So usually on a Monday, what do we say? We usually say, well, I give 110% to my job, especially during this COVID time. What are teachers ending up saying, that almost the whole of the time I give to my job? But how is that 110% given? It's usually on a Monday we start with a lot of energy and we say 40% I'm giving to my job at that on that day. Then it goes down to 30, 20, and then on Friday we are totally exhausted and we end up giving 5%. Why does this happen? Because maybe we're not managing our time that well. Maybe by the time we start on Monday, we think we'll accomplish a lot, but we do not plan ahead. We do not foresee all the activities that we may have to do and how to incorporate urgent tasks as well. We all have 7 days in a week. And after the sixth day, the seventh day, irrespective of how much hard we work, we want one day off. And we look forward to that Sunday. And if you ask me, this is how everybody wants to maybe spend that Sunday, irrespective of how much time management we manage during that week. But that Sunday, if we calculate, let's see how many Sundays do we actually have. We have, suppose the average life is around 70 years. Let's take it 70, 75. So we take a number, say 70. If it is 70 years, we have around 25,550 days. Out of that, we have only 3,640 Sundays. And it seems as if this is the day I want to spend on my own. I want to do things I love. Don't want the workload from the last week to pass on that Sunday. I want that Sunday to be mine. Or even if I want to learn a new skill, I have to incorporate that skill learning session on that Sunday. So if we have only 3,640 Sundays, if we are 70 years old, suppose we are 40 years. Suppose I'm 40 years old, let's take a number and subtract it. Let's subtract it from 70 years. I have, say, 30 years left with me. Out of 30 years, 52 Sundays. And it's only 1,560 Sundays I have for me. One may ask, does it mean I need to waste that time? No. It is even more important to manage ourselves during the rest of the week. So how are we going to manage ourselves during the rest of the week is what we're going to learn here. So take a minute. I hope you can just have a pen and paper nearby. And it's a time management questionnaire. And I would like you to just randomly fill up the numbers. I'll read it side by side. If you think task is something you always do, add a number 2 in this. And if it is sometimes, add 1. And if it is never, then you add a 0. Then in the end, we will ask you to total all the numbers that you have written. So I'm going to quickly just write down read out the numbers, and you can add it at your own on your own papers. I do the most important things first. It could be always, it could be sometimes, it could be a never. So please write down the corresponding number. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, I complete what needs to be done during the day. I always get work done on time. I hope you're writing down the numbers. Could somebody mention that in the chat here? I'll open the chat side by side. I feel I use my time effectively. I try to complete difficult or unpleasant tasks without delay. I force myself to make time for planning. I get up early in the morning during my vacation. I hope I'm not going too fast. I hope I'm not going too fast. Could somebody unmute themselves and let me know?
Yes, ma'am, it's fine.
It's fine. Thank you. I get up early in the morning during my vacation. Is it always, then a 2, if sometimes 1, if never a 0? I prepare a daily or weekly to-do list. I make a list of tasks with the most important tasks at the top. I feel like giving an input, but I'm not going to do that. It's going to condition your answer. I am able to meet deadlines without rushing at the last minute. I keep up to date on my tasks. I avoid distractions. I avoid spending too much time on trivial matters. I spend enough time on my work or studies. I have a weekly schedule. I try to do most important tasks during my most energetic periods of the day. I make good use of my downtime.
Ma'am, question here.
Yes.
What do you mean by downtime?
Downtime means when you are free, sir. I
Got it.
make good use of my downtime means when I'm free, I can relax. So even
All right.
in that time, I either read a novel or I do something, I learn a skill maybe. I often reassess, thank you, sir. I often reassess my activities in relation to my goals. That's important, something we don't do usually. I only look at social media and my emails after I finished my tasks. A lot of resonating with what Matthew sir had just explained in his slides. I'm satisfied with the way I use my time. So please just total the number. It'll take a minute. It'll take a minute. And you can write it in the chat. Yes, I see Meenakshi has written 35. 26. Okay, let's wait for a few others. And whatever the results, this is the result. You can see in which bracket you fall in. You can see in which bracket you fall in. So if we can randomly go through it, we see we have outstanding time management skills. There are 4 or 5 of them. And if you give me a minute, I'll just pause the share and fine. Yes, I think so many of you have already completed it. So give me, I'll just go on and just a second. I'm pausing the recording for a minute. It's a 1-second activity in which you can just quickly post what bracket do you fall in. If you can see, you can quickly post what bracket does your score fall in. Yes, I think so. A few of you have already signed up. I'm waiting for others to answer, and then I'll show you, we'll understand. I'll just share it with you. Can you see the poll results?
What
If
should
you
we
see
click first? Vote?
if you see, yes, sir.
What should I click first? Vote or finish?
Finish. You have to vote and select first, and then you click finish. So if you see, if you can see the screen which I'm sharing, we have a number of people who fall in the 20 to 28 category. Now, when we have the 20 to 28 category, it means I'm going back to my PPT right away. If the people fall into that category, it means you're managing your time fairly well, but sometimes you feel you need some help. That is maybe the reason, that's purely the reason why you are attending this webinar as well. So, keeping all this in mind, we are going to talk about how to go about it. We always find, keeping in mind that we are teachers and we'll be dealing with students, how to help them understand the importance of time management. We pay attention to intelligence, we pay attention to memory, creativity, and time management, but here he doesn't have any schedule, anything to rely on. So where is that time management? And that's what we're going to focus upon. So if you look at keys, as Matthew sir had already said, keep distractions away. Effectively prioritize. Your pen is your sword, and you have to set achievable targets. We're going to talk about how to prioritize, how my pen is the sword, and how to set achievable targets. These are certain things that come across. I would request you to mute yourself, Mr. Prasanna. Thank you. I would request you to mute yourself. So many of us usually start our weekend homework on a Sunday evening. So keeping in mind, we are keeping in mind children here as well. Many of us usually make conflicting plans with our friends on Saturday evening. That happens a lot. Even if we have a lot of work on which has to be submitted on a Monday, we end up giving in and calling up our friends and relatives for a Saturday evening dinner. When we decide to clean a room, we usually start enthusiastically, but we end up cleaning only one corner of the room. And when we have a lot of hand to complete, we join. Even then, what do children do? There's a farewell party. And what do children do? They know that even along with the farewell party, there's going to be a pre-board, there's going to be the second term, but still they're going to jump into these kind of activities. So we have to tell our students that they have to plan and balance. They have to plan and balance everything. I would request you to kindly mute yourself. I think so. Okay, I've done that. So why does it happen? It happens because we plan ahead. Either we postpone things, but we have no idea about how much time it will take to complete that task. And at times we extend the time. We give to one activity, and therefore we think we can manage so many things together. Everybody is doing so many things. There's multitasking happening at every ground level, at every level, especially in the teachers community. We should have been on step 5 of a project, suppose, but we haven't even started the first one. So how do we improve ourselves? We are coming straight away to that now. Stephen Covey identified 4 ways in time management, and it seems to be cliche, but this is how it actually works. It is definitely going to work in this manner only. Just a second, please. We need to make notes and checklists. I'm going to help you out with that as well. It helps us recognize the demands on energy and time. Calendars and appointments is something we are not usually used to, but if you have one, I'll be showing you the one I use, and it helps us to focus on the future. Because if we don't have a calendar, there's a possibility we will only concentrate on what we have to do on that one day. And prioritization. Comparison of the relative worth of activities. You have to make it a priority to make your priorities a priority. That is very important. And self-management. Time management is not actually time management. It is self-management. It is how you manage yourself. That realization has to be managed, keeping in mind COVID pandemic, online study schedule, online teaching, household responsibilities, online tuitions. Everything is being done by us in one day. Everything is being managed in one day. So I've tried to jot down 10 ways how we have to manage ourselves and not time. You have to plan the day beforehand. It seems as if that's tough to do, but don't we housewives, and when we are cooking, what do? At night, we think beforehand, what is it I'm going to make in the morning? So in the same way, we have to plan our day. But what is the difference? We are not supposed to plan it in our head. We are supposed to use a pen and paper. If you remember, pen is our tool which is going to help us plan. And keep a small notebook near your bedside. Apart from gratitude notes, maybe that can help. Write it down in a planner or use an app. This is the app I have been using. I would like to show it to you. I use this app and I have given a description of it as well. I'll send it in the group, and this really, really works. It is not that I have bought it just today for the session, but if you can see, there are a number of things I have been writing ever since I have bought it. It is filled up till for say a few months. So this is the section that it gives us. I've clicked a photo of it, and if it is visible to you, I hope it's visible to you.
Yes.
It tells us there's a to-do list for the week. At times we have to, there's short-term goals, there are day-to-day goals, there are week goals. So they have these all sections there. Now, why I had referred to the fact, I'm going back here, I said either write it down in a planner or use an app. I'm a pen and a paper person, so I rely on pen and paper. But children today, this generation may be comfortable with an app. So I'll be talking about those apps as well. So this is one part of it. So if you see this, I'll just hold it up again. If you see this planner, there's place to write here. This is all day wise of 1 week. And this is the page which I have just shown to you right now. So this gives an overall view of the whole week. And this is going to tell you per day of that week. Per day, what can you plan? Suppose I have a number of classes. I mentioned that there. I mentioned the courses I have joined. I mentioned the YouTube videos I have to make up. If I put that on a hold, I mentioned that over here. So this does work. And I have suggested this to many students of mine who have fallen short of submitting their assignments on time with the excuse that ma'am, there's a lot to do. So coming to those who are not comfortable with pen and paper, I would really request you to mute yourself. I would really request you to mute yourself. So if you look at the apps, these are the 3 apps which I found on the App Store. I have not used them, but I have just surfed the basic ingredients of this and the features of it and whether it works or not. I usually rely on Google Calendar. That helps a lot. The moment you have a Zoom meeting, it saves there and then you can work on it. And I use Keep as well. Keep helps a lot when you have to do a lot of work. They also give you those tick mark boxes in which you can tick mark and indicate that this is the work that you have completed. So just a second. Yeah, there seems to be somebody. Okay, prioritize your work while planning. Start your work and reprioritize. This is something very easy said, prioritize. But how I prioritize may vary for another person, despite the fact the time might be same. So I'm giving you an activity which can help you understand how to plan the day, keeping in mind a certain technique. how to plan the day, and maybe we follow that technique without knowing that we are actually following a time management matrix. So if we have a knowledge of that time management matrix, that would really help us in planning those. So I'm giving you a set of chores, and you can look at your role as a teacher, which in fact most of you are, and there are principals here also. So but still they are people who manage homes. So I'm giving you, these are the set of activities, and I want you to keep in mind this table. So it's the same set of activities which I have told over here. I've copied it down here. I want you to place the numbers. No need to write it all down. So suppose it is make a 40-mark question paper on Google Forms, which has to be submitted the next day, and you were notified about it a day before. So maybe one, you say it's urgent and it's important, so I'll put it in this quadrant. So I'll give you a minute. Or what I can do is I can keep on reading this, and then you can keep on placing it here. Before you do that, let's understand this quadrant over here, urgent and important. That means you can't even think of ignoring it. Suppose it is something that the principal wants it urgently, immediately, you can't ignore it. You have to do that work, and you'll place that in this quadrant. Not urgent, but it's important. Yes, maybe I have to complete an assignment. I'm doing a course. I have to complete it by, say, tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It may not be urgent, but it is important, because by the end of the week, I have to complete it. So this is how it goes. Urgent and not important, that becomes a distraction. Not urgent and not important, that it becomes a waste. And the easiest one is maybe binge watch Netflix series. So I'll give you a minute, and if it helps you, should I read out these statements so that we can all be on the same page and move ahead? Would it help if I read it out?
No, ma'am, it's fine. It's readable.
Fine. So I'll wait for you to just write the numbers in the quadrants you think that would help you. And it need not be the same, differ.
Ma'am, the numbers for the questions we have to put over there.
So suppose you say this activity is very important and urgent. You put 1 here. That you just make a rough box, and you can place it 1 over here. It's understood that this is placed in 1.
Ma'am, for the second question also I have to put 1 only.
No, you have to put 2. That is the statement number. That's the statement number 2 for according to you is not urgent but it is important. So you put it in this quadrant. The third one, finalize the editorial page for the newsletter. I'm an English teacher, so these are the questions that I've taken up. So the statements I've taken up. So maybe this is finalized. That means my principal wants it. So urgent and important, I'll put it over here. But he doesn't want it tomorrow. So I can put it not urgent and important here. So 3 comes here, according to me. I am not speaking, sir, right now. I am just waiting for all of you to give me a green signal so that I can go ahead. Fine, I think so. Am I audible? Because somebody is writing in the chat, I'm not audible.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
I am.
You are audible.
So basically, thank you so much. So can I go on to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
So this gives you, I'll wait for another 1 minute. This gives you an idea, I think so. So crisis.
Someone's scribbling over the.
Yeah, I've just disabled the annotations. No
Yes,
problem.
ma'am. Thank you.
Problem.
Thank you.
So pressing problems, firefighting, these are just ways of saying that this is something that is really urgent. And out of this, there will be hardly 1 or 2 pointers which you must have mentioned in this group. Productivity is planning. Suppose out of this, give me an example. What did you put up in this one? Which statement did you put up in not urgent and important?
3, 4, 6.
3. Okay, finalize the editorial page because it is not something that has to be immediately submitted. 4. Okay, go to the gym. For some, it may
3,
not
4,
be.
5,
Yes.
and 11.
Yes. Again, that may vary. It is important. But why is 5 important? Because suddenly there are 4 people who are going to visit you for today. And if I don't prepare it, what am I going to serve them? So it becomes not urgent, but it is important. So waste, we can easily guess what would be in waste and distraction. Distraction, as Sir said, phone calls, emails. These are things that at times do really waste time. Wasting time in gossiping or socializing, or even in TV binge watching. These are things like water the plants. It's not urgent, but it is important. I have to water the plants. So the whole idea of this, can I go on to the next slide? May I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So this is actually Stephen Covey's time management matrix. This is, if you search for it, it is very easily found there. But and as I said, we do plan our time like that, but we never knew that this was the time management matrix. So what do I do on this? If I show you this box over here, that gives me that space where I can plan it. And as you do it, you don't have to write it. You already know that this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3 and 4. So I will plan my time automatically. Coming to the 6th one is, I hope this is clear. I hope this helps. I hope you can maybe take a screenshot of this and maybe you can use it somewhere in near future. So you need to work advance of deadlines. That can happen only if you plan well. I think the one solution to all of this is writing down what you have to do, whether it is to be done in a day, whether it is to be done in a week, whether it's to be done as a long-term goal. You write it down, and then the pleasure of ticking off those assignments you've done really gives you a lot of help. You have to own your work. It's my work. Nobody's going to come and do it. It's not going to happen on your own. Create a dedicated workplace. I really believe in that, because what happens is nowadays we're working on laptops. And when we're working on laptops, at times we think, okay, we'll open it. It takes time to settle down. We have to clear the table, like create a space to work. No, in case you have a separate corner, it could be maybe a corner of your bed where you have your own bed table. That should make you automatically work. So giving even our students, our children at home, a dedicated workplace creates that atmosphere. Eliminate distractions. That's really important, because what happens is we don't even know where time has flown. So no one size fits all. That is with relation to this, as we said. For you, maybe cooking may not, watering plants may not be important, but for me, it is important. So let's understand, this is what it is. If you don't know where you are going, how will you get there? That's the whole idea behind it. I think, so Modi ji, you've risen your hand. I'll take your question towards the end of the session. So kindly bear with us. So always keep the end in mind first, and that's how we have to learn how to set those goals. Okay, we're straight away going to how to set the goals. It's easy to say we have to plan, but how do I plan that? One is using Stephen Covey's time management matrix. That helps a lot. And the other goal is, the other way of is to recognize which are those goals we are talking about. A goal is a dream, it's attainable, it has to be measurable, it has to have a time limit, it has to be within your control. And writing is something that helps a lot. There are different kinds of goals here. We're talking about, say, 10-year, 5-year plan, short-term goals. But right now, we're talking about the immediate goals. Further goals can be classified as, you can see, physical goals and financial goals, relationship goals. I'm going to get married by this age, self-development. During the COVID period, I'm going to do these many courses and evolve as a trainer. Pleasure goals. If this is okay, I'm going to have a travel trip. But how do I manage all that? There are two ways to go about building those goals. One is to remember the acronym FRAME, and the other is the goals must be specific. Frame, in sense, it means you have to dream your wildest dreams, to envisage what you want to be, fantasize it. Till you don't have a dream, you cannot set a goal. Even if it is as simple as maybe completing a work of the school, you have to, and suppose it's to do with maybe a presentation or a web page that has to be prepared. You envisage the web page that you're going to create. If it is to do with maybe staging a play, you envisage the whole plot, you envisage how it has to be set up, then you keep on writing down. It has to be realistic, it has to be doable, it has to have you have to have an aim. You have to sit down and write down the aim. I'll be telling how to write those aims as well. And that has to be really, really a balance between fantasy and realistic. Because fantasizing is like saying, okay, I'm going to have a visit to Mauritius. Now that may or may not be possible because it depends upon your bank balance as well. So the aim has to be really a balance between fantasize and realistic. The method, you have to be true to yourself. You can't say that I'm going to sit overnight and create 10 videos. That's not possible. Again, it's not realistic, and it's a method that is not going to bear any fruit. So you have to narrow down your choices. You have to prioritize. We have to ask for help if we need it, and evaluation. So frame is fantasize, be realistic, aim, method, and evaluation. Process the results. Be flexible. That's why I have used the term reprioritize. You prioritize, but while you're doing that work, at times you realize this is not how it's supposed to go. I need to replan again. So keeping in mind this, the next one is specific. I really love this portion of how to set goals, and this helps us in time management as well. Because when we say specific, we mean to say, just a second, I'll remove this if I can. Yeah. So if we see specific, it means must establish who, what, where, when, and must tell why it is important. It must not be vague or ambiguous, and we have to use specific terms. I'm giving an example to show how can it be a specific example. Instead of saying I will lose weight and become more healthy, it's a very broad term, a broad aim, a broad goal. You can't check whether you've done that or not. So be more specific, and you can say I will lose 1 inch from my waist. And another inappropriate way is employees will be empowered. Empowered how? Employees will be authorized to make more decisions. Suppose you have been made in charge of a set of teachers. Now, you have been empowered by being given that designation, but there is no right of executing any authority that has been meted out to you. So that has to be done. Keeping in mind measurable. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Give a date for completion. Say 25 out of 50 assignments submitted will be screened for selection. Assign a % of increase in marks. Students who showed a 10% increase in their performance will be appreciated in the next PTM. Or students who show a 10% increase in the performance, their names are going to be on the board tomorrow, the PTM. So that gives them also some initiative to, and we are also able to inspire them. So another measurable example is I want to read more. I will read 2 hours before my birthday. That is much more measurable, whether I've been able to do that or not. Inappropriate, students will be rewarded. That's okay, they will be rewarded, but there's nothing definite about it. It's not measurable. So meritorious students will receive a special mention of their accomplishment in the report cards. So this is how, as leaders, when we talk to our teachers, we can maybe tell them that this is what you can say to inspire the students. Attainable. Attainable does not mean easy. It means you need to stretch but slightly, but it will need a real commitment from you. And if unreachable at the onset, it may lead to frustration as well. So how is it attainable? I will never watch TV. That's something that one can't do. Limit TV to 1 hour or working days. Inappropriate would be all students will be seen by a counselor within 2 days of intake. And the appropriate way would be 75% of students will be seen by a counselor within 2 months. How can all the students see the counselor within 2 days of intake? That would not be possible. It's not an attainable goal. The next is realistic. It's not a synonym for easy. It means doable. Too difficult and you set the stage for failure. But too low sends a message that you are very capable. Never eat sweets again. That's not possible. If you have a sweet tooth, you will strive for it. Eat a piece of fruit instead of sweets 1 a day. Inappropriate will clear all the doubts of the students. That's what we teachers usually say. Okay, today's class, we're going to clear all the doubts of the students. That's possible. Let's give them a very structured way of asking their questions. Will solve 2 doubts each of every student in the next 2 classes. So if I have 34 students, 2 doubts each in every 2 classes is real. It is attainable as well. And timely. Set a time frame for the goal. Putting an end point gives you a clear target to work towards. A time limit gives an urgency to start. It must be measurable. It has to be attainable. It has to be realistic. I will get organized. Okay. But within a week, I will clear out all the pending bills. That's much more. I've given a deadline to myself that by this time I'm going to clear all the bills. Inappropriate. Reduce the pile of notebooks to be checked by 10%. Okay. That's doesn't seem to be very convincing. Reduce the pile of notebooks to be checked by 10% by this Monday. So that's the whole idea behind it. That's the whole idea, to make your goals. And if you realize, when I make my goals in this manner, in this specific manner, in the smart manner, how does it help? The acronym is SMART. I think so. At the beginning, I said the acronym is specific. The acronym is SMART, as I just recalled. So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. This really helps in managing ourselves and managing our time as well. You will find that this helps a lot. And why do goals fail? Because it was never written down. I don't know. I always have this by my side. And this is, I think, so the first fancy one I have bought. Otherwise, I have a calendar, which Archie's calendar, those thin ones, in which I keep on writing down what I have to do in that day. And those are really useful. Rewards for achieving the goals were not given. For achieving the goals were not given. That means when you've achieved your goal, go and treat yourself. That's what I tell my students a number of times. Okay, today you finish your exams and you've done well. Go and treat yourself to a hot chocolate fudge. And they look at us. They look at me and they say, "What, ma'am?" I say, "Yes, you deserve a prize for doing that." The goal was unrealistic and not specific enough. Not unrealistic and not specific. It's too vague. You have to be very specific in what goals you write down. The goal is not really believable, or there's little commitment, and little commitment exists. Keep changing or switching goals with the weather. That also changes. This is different from reprioritization. It is very different from reprioritization. In reprioritization, we are just arranging the tasks, but we are not switching the goals. The person who set the goal has not told anyone else for added accountability, help, or support. So as a leader, if I have told them that these are the things that you have to do in case you have any problem, this is the person you can come and approach. The goal is not incorporated into a realistic plan that includes measurements, timelines, and resources, and that is what we have been talking about. This is the last slide, as it is already 6 o'clock. You got to make it a priority to make your priorities a priority. It takes a minute to allow this to sink in, but this is actually the core of it all. And this is something I believe in. If it is not important, if it is important to you, you will find a way. And if it is not important to you, you will find an excuse. So this was exactly the time I had till 6 o'clock. And keeping in mind it's a time management session, I opened the session to questions. I saw a few people who want to ask some questions. So kindly, you're free to do so. And if there's anything I can help you with. Yes.
Excuse ma'am,
Yes.
can you please show the slide that Stephen Covey identified 4 waves? That slide, can you show again, please?
Definitely. If you Google also, it is very easy. You can find Stephen Covey's time management matrix. Stephen Covey's time management matrix. It is this one, I believe.
Okay, ma'am.
You can take a screenshot.
No, not this.
Then?
No, ma'am, not this, ma'am. Stephen Covey's identified 4 waves in time
4
management.
waves. 4 waves in time management. This is the one.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the one. But it's the quadrants which will help you a lot. The quadrants help a lot, and jotting down, make it a habit. You have to have a small notebook by the bedside before sleeping. The 2 things you do: write down your gratitude notes and chalk down something you need to do. I'm speaking from personal experience. Rest, it may waver from person to person. Anything else, ma'am?
Thank you, ma'am. It's actually helpful. Ma'am, and one slide before that also. Just one slide before that.
Okay. Meanwhile, others can also ask their questions if there's anything I can help with. Is it this one, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
This?
Exactly that one only.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Just a moment.
Any other queries, dear educators? Any other queries? I'd be happy to.
Can you repeat what you told? What you do before going to bed? Gratitude notes and what else?
Yeah, a gratitude note. In fact, I keep gratitude posts as well. My status and my FB pages have gratitude posts as well, because now I'm trying to get onto digital other than only writing it down. But that helps. 3 things that can help, that can make you feel that you're thankful about. 3 things, especially during COVID time. It helps a lot to focus on things we have rather than on things we don't. On the haves than the have-nots. Anything else, ma'am?
No. Thanks a lot, ma'am. It was a lovely session, and definitely it would be helpful in managing time.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else I can... thank you for all the comments. Really, if there's any question I have left unnoticed, we shall reward ourselves for each little success. Yes. Very simple language. Thank you so much, Vaibhav. Yes.
Hello, ma'am. The session was really nice, and I'm looking forward to similar more sessions. And it is very fruitful. And if the recording can be shared, it would be very helpful.
Mr. Matthews would be definitely sharing the recording. All the recordings are up on his YouTube, on AIEF YouTube channel. So definitely that would be done.
It was very nice.
Thank you, ma'am. So, sir, I think so we can wind up. Any other?
Yeah, we can wind up. Thank you so much, Ritu Bhandari ma'am, for always taking initiatives.
Yes,
and these are, this is, as I tell in every session, this is your platform. So come up with ideas and share your ideas to other educators, so that, they also gain by your experience. So it's thank you once again on behalf of
Give and
AIEF for
take.
taking out time. As I told you, even taking out time is a very big thing. Even this 1 hour is so precious.
Yes.
Easily relaxed and
Because
kept that time for yourself. So we appreciate your time that you have spent for all the members here. Thank you so much.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you and have a nice evening.
I just
Thank
wanted
you.
to say this is my first, and thank you, Matthew sir, for including
Yes,
me.
ma'am.
Hello,
Yes,
Geeta ma'am.
this is my first interaction with the group, and it was really very well done. And as Ma'am Rita Bandari said, what I have also realized is that it is extremely important. We have to be very clear about the goal. Then only we can reach. So the time management is the process, but the goal has to be, at least clear in our mind, and always we should enjoy the process. That's what I understood from your session. Very nice. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Have a nice
bye-bye.
evening.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we can
Yeah.
wait.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.